Photo, Lutz Bongarts, Getty Images A month before the start of the biggest footballing event on the planet, the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia, KingFut presents the first installment of African World Cup Moments, a series that will highlight the most iconic moments in the history of African nations' participation in the global showpiece tournament. Despite the fact that none of the continent's sides have managed to make it to the semi-final stage, throughout history, there have been some outstanding highs and devastating lows for African teams at the FIFA World Cup. Mexico 1970, Morocco become first African team to qualify through CAF. Photo, Lawrence Griffiths, Getty Images. Following the African boycott of 1966, FIFA were forced to take action, with one of the factors leading to the boycott being that Africa was not guaranteed a spot at the World Cup. FIFA agreed by allowing CAF to organize its own qualification system in order to make the tournament a truly global affair. Due to the landscape at the time, only 13 teams were able to take part in qualification: Zambia, Sudan, Morocco, Senegal, Algeria, Tunisia, Nigeria, Cameroon, Libya, Ethiopia and Ghana. The Atlas Lions had been playing as a national team independent of France since 1957, however they had contributed to the tournament before when Marrakesh-born Just Fontaine scored 13 goals in the 1958 tournament for France, a record that still stands to this day and is not likely to ever be broken. Morocco started qualification for 1970 with a playoff win over Senegal, having drawn 2-2 in the original two-legged tie. In the second phase of qualification, Morocco received a huge slice of luck when, after 3 matches, they could not be separated by goals with local rivals Tunisia, and they eventually progressed to the next phase when the tie was decided by a coin toss. In the final phase of qualifying, Morocco found themselves in a group with Nigeria and Sudan, with each team facing each other twice. Morocco won twice and topped the group, making them the first team to qualify for the World Cup via CAF, as Egypt had only previously done so in an intercontinental playoff. At the tournament itself, Morocco were drawn in a tough group alongside Bulgaria, Peru and West Germany, with the latter two having World Cup legends in their ranks such as Teofilo Cubillas, Gerd Müller and Franz Beckenbauer. While they finished the tournament without a win, Morocco can take pride in having given a scare to a strong West Germany by taking the lead in their opening game through Houma Majourir. West Germany 1974, Zaire. Photo, Getty Images. With Africa now somewhat established on the world scene, it was time for a new challenger at the World Cup. Zaire, now known as DR Congo, were next in line after Morocco's ventures in 1970. Africa was ever growing in terms of quantity of national teams due to more and more countries gaining independence from European colonizers, with 22 teams now taking part in qualification for the 1974 World Cup. Having defeated Togo, Cameroon and Ghana, Zaire were placed in the final group with Zambia and the 1970 qualifiers Morocco. Zaire cruised to qualification, winning every single game in the process as they headed to West Germany with optimism. Zaire were placed in a tough group alongside Scotland, Yugoslavia and reigning champions Brazil. After a tough opening game with Scotland where they lost 2-0, the wheels began to fall off for Zaire as disputes about the team's payment began. As a result, there was a mutiny among the team, with the 5 feet 4 inches substitute goalkeeper starting and many of the first team taking no part, as Zaire suffered the joint biggest defeat in World Cup history with a 9-0 drubbing at the hands of Yugoslavia. With the country under the tyrannical rule of President Mobutu, the squad were all in great fear of how their lives would be affected when they returned home. They were then dealt with the bombshell that Mobutu allegedly told the Leopards that if they suffered a defeat of 4 or more goals at the hands of Brazil, that they would not be allowed to return back to Zaire at all. This supposed threat led to one of the most iconic moments in World Cup history, when Zaire were defending a Brazil free kick with legendary players Rivelino and Jairzinho standing over it, when MWEPU Ilunga sprinted from his wall and punted the ball away before the players could take the free kick. While it is an often ridiculed moment, it is believed that Ilunga cleared the ball not because of a lack of understanding of the rules, but to buy time as Brazil were edging dangerously close to the 4-0 lead that Zaire feared most. Ilunga's decision paid off as the game finished 3-0 and Zaire's squad were able to return home, with their reputations in tatters. To this day, Zaire, DR Congo have not reached another World Cup finals. Argentina 1978, Tunisia become first African team to win a match at the World Cup. Photo, Getty Images, Allsport UK, Allsport. While there were 3 African teams that had participated at the World Cup. Up to this point, they had all suffered disappointing tournaments, with none of Egypt, Morocco or Zaire being able to win a game in their attempts at tournaments gone by. That changed in Argentina in 1978, when Tunisia qualified for the first time and were pitted in a tough group alongside Mexico, Poland and holders West Germany. On the second day of the tournament, Tunisia stunned the footballing world by beating Mexico, having come from 1-0 down to win 3-1, with Ali Kabi, Najib Gomi and Mokhtar Douib immortalizing themselves in the annals of World Cup history by scoring in the second half. Following the historic win, Tunisia had their work cut out against a Polish side who were in the midst of their golden generation. While Poland eventually won 1-0, Tunisia left the game with their heads held high and were later described by L'Équipe as an impressive side. The landmark tournament did not stop there for Tunisia, however, as they came up against reigning champions West Germany. The Carthage Eagles needed a win to progress to the next round, and while they did not produce it, they did get a draw in what is one of the most impressive results in African football history. Spain 1982, Algeria and the disgrace of Gijón. Photo, Getty Images. Thanks to Tunisia's exploits in 1978, African football was officially on the map. Headed into the 1982 tournament in Spain, there was growing optimism for the continent, as there were now 2 spots permitted for CAF teams, which were occupied by Cameroon and Algeria, both of whom had qualified for the first time. While Cameroon went undefeated in a group with tournament heavyweights Poland, Peru and Italy, it was Algeria who caught the eye in an equally tough group alongside Chile, Austria and West Germany. The Phoenix got off to the perfect start with a seismic shock when national legend Robbo Madier put his name on the footballing map by scoring the opener in an iconic 2-1 win over West Germany, who went into the tournament as one of the favorites. Algeria lost their second game to a strong Austrian side led by Hans Krankel, however they still had a chance to reach the second round headed into their final game with Chile. This final round is when one of the most infamous moments in World Cup history would take place. Due to the scheduling, Algeria played their final game first against Chile. While Algeria did their part with a 3-2 win, their fate was reliant on the result in Austria versus West Germany, as a 1-0 win for West Germany would see the 2 European sides progress on goal difference, while a draw or a win for Austria would put Algeria through. As Austria and West Germany were aware of the situation, the 2 teams plotted together to ensure that the game would provide the necessary result and thus send them both to the second round, with the outcome being an excruciating 1-0 win for the Germans, with Austria making no attempt to win the match or even equalize. The incident would later become known as the disgrace of Gijón. In the aftermath, the footballing world was appalled by the actions of Austria and West Germany. In all future tournaments, the final group games have been played at the same time in an attempt to avoid teams playing for certain results, as the result they need can potentially change based on results elsewhere. However, Algeria will remain aggrieved that the team they should have finished above went on to reach the World Cup final while the tournament ended prematurely for Algeria.